So I want to talk about the letter that Bernie Sanders sent to the DNC late yesterday afternoon. In the letter, he accused the Hillary Victory Fund of essentially collusion with the DNC to circumvent campaign finance laws. There has been a lot of reporting on this in terms of the structure of the Hillary Victory Fund. But the letter that Bernie Sanders sent to the DNC on yesterday really kind of raised the ante. And I want to point out a couple of the things that he said in the letter. He said, this is from his attorney to the DNC. Bernie Sanders' team said it's of a grave concern that the Clinton Joint Fundraising Committee appears to be using funds raised by big dollar donors to fund activities that yield contributions and support that only provide benefit to HFA. Moreover, the Joint Fundraising Committee may effectively be subsidizing HFA's donor acquisition efforts because HFA is now able to resolicit the small donor over and over again. Right there, Lewis, I actually want to talk about that before we move on, because essentially what's happening, you have Hillary Victory Fund, which is a totally different branch. It is not Hillary for America. It is a joint fundraising campaign that merges the DNC with Hillary for America and 32 states that decided to participate in this. Now, them doing this in a primary is all but unprecedented, right? This is the type of behavior that you have and you see during a general election. And so there's a great report by Cenk Uygur where he really outlines this is pretty much evidence that the DNC and these state parties have been in bed with Hillary Clinton as early as August of 2016 of last year. I'm sorry, August of 2015 of last year. And so here we have them raising these obscene amounts of money. And there's a video of George Clooney actually talking about this most recent fundraiser. They're raising these obscene amounts of money. And the justification, Lewis, has always been that this money is going for down ballot tickets. But according to this letter from Bernie Sanders, that's not really necessarily the case.
Thank you, Chuck.
Let me start with dinner you co-hosted on Friday night. Big fundraiser I know that you have planned for later tonight. Do you look at how much is being raised? And I think the co-host of the Friday night dinner, $353,000 a couple to be a co-chair. Do you look at it yourself and think that's an obscene amount of money?
Yes, I think it's an obscene amount of money. I think that, we had some protesters last night when we pulled up in San Francisco, and they're right to protest. They're absolutely right. It is an obscene amount of money. The Sanders campaign, when they talk about it, is absolutely right. It's ridiculous that we should have this kind of money in politics. I agree completely.
It's interesting.
That's a good spot right there. So he admits that this is an obscene amount of money. In the next clip, though, he starts talking about how he expects that this money is going to be broken down and help down ballot tickets and help state parties. And what Bernie Sanders' letter to the DNC essentially says is there may be money going to the state parties. There may be money going to the DNC. But the overwhelming amount that's going to Hillary Clinton disproportionately benefits Hillary Clinton directly instead of proportionately benefiting Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and all of the down ballot tickets.
But, I think what's important, and what I think the Clinton campaign has not been very good at explaining is this, and this is the truth. The overwhelming amount of money that we're raising, and it is a lot, but the overwhelming amount of the money that we're raising is not going to Hillary to run for president. It's going to the down ticket. It's going to the congressmen and senators to try to take back Congress.
Lewis, there's a slide in there. If you go to the breakdown of the Hillary for America, let me just pick it up right here. Bernie 2016 is concerned that at best, the Joint Fundraising Committee's spending on direct mail and online advertising appears to represent an impermissible in-kind contribution from the DNC and the participating state party committees to HFA. At worst, using funds received from large dollar donors who have already contributed the $2,700 maximum to HFA may represent an excessive contribution from HFA from these individuals. All right, so here's the deal. there is the Hillary Victory Fund. And I know a lot of people get a little hazy when we start talking about numbers, Lewis, but we try to break this out as much as we could. There's a Hillary Victory Fund, which is completely different than Hillary for America. It is comprised of Hillary for America, the actual campaign, the DNC, and 32 state Democratic committees. In the actual expectation that has been given on Hillary for America's website, on the Hillary Victory Fund website, and by George Clooney, the expectation is that $2,700 is going to go to Hillary for America, $33,000 to the DNC, $320,000 going to the 32 states, about $10,000 to each state. So there's an expectation, Lewis, that only 1% or less than 1% is going to go to Hillary Clinton. Now, the actuals, and this is from opensecrets.org, shows that at the Q4 2015, 4.4 million went to Hillary Clinton. That represents about 42% of the money raised. The expectation, Lewis, is that less than 1% was going to go. The reality in Q4 was 42%, but it actually got worse. In Q1 of 2016, they raised 33 million. 63% of raised funds went to Hillary for America. And this is on opensecrets.org. This is also on politifact.com. This is well known and documented. The amazing thing is none of that is illegal. Everything is perfectly legal up to this point. And this is where Bernie Sanders' question actually comes in. There's 33 million raised, and there was only 15 million dispersed between Hillary Clinton and the individual states. But if you go to the next slide, you'll see they had expenses of $6.7 million that went out in online ads, 5.5 million in direct mail, and 2.6 million in salaries for HFA, Hillary for America. So there are actually $14.8 million that were spent before disbursement, Lewis. And so this is where Bernie Sanders' letter actually comes in. He's saying that the fundraising seems to be fine, but before any money is dispersed, it's already spent. And that's not a bad thing if those dollars actually benefit the DNC and the state parties and Hillary Clinton proportionately. But they have found that that 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 8 million that has been spent on direct mail, as well as spent on online advertisement, has overwhelmingly benefited Hillary Clinton, not the DNC and not the state parties. So this is how the game is played. They take this large amount of money from large donors, like George Clooney. His money hasn't been spent yet because they just raised it. But last quarter, it was Sting, right? They used Sting to raise an obscene amount of money. They take these dollars, and instead of dispersing it right away to the state and the DNC, they spend it on advertisements that help Hillary Clinton increase her small donor amount. So if they couldn't send the total of 33 million to Hillary Clinton, essentially what they've done is said, we can't send you all of this, but we can spend a good portion of this, 14 million of this, on expenses, and we can spend it on advertising. So that does two things for you, Lewis. It helps you to actually get money advertising directly for Hillary Clinton, as well as pay for the campaign staff. And Bernie Sanders is saying flag on the play. What do you think?
I like that the Sanders campaign is calling foul all over the place with Hillary and what she's doing. But if you had any suspicions about how that money was being allocated or spent, I mean, this is exactly how you'd think it would happen.
Right.
And so it's really not that much of a shock. But I mean, it's important for the Sanders campaign to continue to call her out. This is what he has to do to win.
But that's the thing. The thing to me is that a lot of people really have this expectation that $2,700 is all that's going to Clooney, right? All that's going to Hillary Clinton from Clooney. And the reality of it is that huge amounts are being spent before that money is ever distributed. There's so much more reporting that has to be done on this. We try to give you as much as we could, but the key point is the money has been spent. 63% of the money raised. So George Clooney's assessment that all the money, the majority of the money is going down ballot, PolitiFact rated it as true. Is actually very far from true. It's almost pants on fire, Lewis, except the fact that I think he doesn't know, like a lot of Hillary Clinton supporters just don't know.
FreshBooks is offering David Pakman Show listeners a 30-day free trial of their service. I'm obviously the host of the David Pakman Show, but I also run the business that is the David Pakman Show. And I want to spend as much time as possible on the show and growing and improving my business. So FreshBooks lets you get paid more quickly. It helps with invoicing. It helps with so many of those business administration tools. And it's for freelancers and small businesses who want to get organized on those issues and really focus on growing the business. So to get your 30-day free trial of FreshBooks and support the David Pakman Show, go to gofreshbooks.com/TDPS. That's gofreshbooks.com/TDPS.